Go, thank you. Good evening, today is the 25th of June. This is the regular meeting of the Rockport Planning Board, June 2026. This board consists of up to 7 Rockport resident volunteers appointed by the Select Board to review land use applications, changes to zoning, and conduct other duties prescribed by the town and the state. We do have a quorum of 4 members here tonight, so I'm calling this meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. Our first order of business doesn't appear on our agenda, but it's an adjustment that we'll have to make. That's to nominate a chair and vice chair of this board since it's the June meeting. Would anyone like to put forth any nominations for chair?
I would. I'd like to nominate Jeff Leclerc.
Thank you, Tom.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Do we have
Nomination
enough to
second.
vote?
We do. We have 4.
Yeah, okay.
So we have 1 nomination.
Second.
Thank you, Peter. Any other nominations for chair? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor of Jeff Leclerc as the chair of the planning board? Okay, I'll vote for myself, 4-0-0. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Jan Rosenbaum.
Jan Rosenbaum, a nomination. Is there a second?
Oh, you don't need a second for nomination.
Oh, you don't need a second for that? Learned that recently, right?
No, nominations.
Nomination,
require a
you
second.
collect the nominations. Okay, we have a nomination for Jan as vice chair. Any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, voting on Jan for vice chair. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Thank you, Jan.
Do I get a jacket?
I think your placard has to change on that.
Maybe placard change, okay.
Thank you. Now we've done that. First item on our agenda normally is to call for any public comments on non-agenda items, non-today's agenda items. So anything planning related in the town of Rockport from the public. Hearing none, I'll close the public comment on non-agenda items. And next item is to approve the minutes from May 2026's meeting. Are there any comments that anyone would like to talk about in the May minutes?
Yeah. I don't think I should mention it.
You should, Tom. It's always fun to hear your comments on the minutes.
No, I just made a comment about using the word mention
Okay.
because it sounds so like just offhand. And I think a better word is that somebody explained or somebody said. Just said is better than mention.
Okay.
Because mention sounds like it was an afterthought.
Your comments here will go into the minutes of next month.
Okay.
And we'll see if those reflect. Anything else?
She does a very wonderful job.
I agree. I am impressed. I just had one comment, which was to remove the discussion of adjournment, since that is not something we do. We don't discuss adjournment. Anything from you, Jan, Peter,
No,
on the minutes?
I'm fine with them.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes as noted?
So moved.
Thank you, Peter.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Jan. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Jan, Peter, all in favor? Thank you. 4-0-0. Okay, so the first project coming before us is a site plan application review. You guys can come up for 2 multifamily residential buildings with 12 units in each located at 3 Cross Street. This parcel is identified as tax map 27, lot 23, under contract by Lake City Holdings LLC. This application is being represented by Gartley and Dorsky and the prospective owners. So we've all done this before, but I'll just refresh on our process here. So first, we're going to have anybody from the board identify any conflicts of interest. Peter, Jan, Tom, any conflicts that you might have with this project? Hearing none. Thank you. You all set? Okay. We'll give you the opportunity to present the project. Let's see, how do we want to do this? We'll then have some clarification questions from the board. Then we'll take public comment, any public comments that have been received or are here tonight. And then after that, we'll go into board deliberation. So we've seen this application in pre-app review before, so this should be somewhat of a refresher, but the project has sort of fleshed out a bit more. We did do a site plan, a site walk prior to this meeting. On site, naturally, there were no notes taken from that. There were a couple members from the public, as well as the applicant and these members of the board. So we have been there and seen it. So now we can turn it over to you to address essentially the public on what this project is.
Okay. Get a little intro? Sure.
Yeah. And just identify yourself by name.
Let's go down the line, actually. I'm Caleb Lincoln. I'm with Lake City Holdings, one of the developers. This is Ed Libby, my partner, Lake City Holdings. Then we have Will Gartley and Stacy Ann, both from Gartley and Dorsey. Yep, and we're familiar with this project. We're here to talk about 24-unit workforce housing development on Cross Street. In Rockport, we recently finished another workforce housing project at Madeline Lane, which was oversubscribed, taking kind of that anecdotal data with reports from MCOG and at the state, clearly identifying the critical need for this kind of housing. We're happy to be here again. We'll be working on this project in conjunction with the Lesher Family Foundation and the Bresnahan family, who will kind of support us throughout this project. We made just, we'll get into the details, but coming out of the last meeting, we made a couple just minor adjustments, which might have been noticed. Hearing some feedback, we looked at the siding and kind of facade of these buildings and tried to make it more at peace with the surrounding neighborhood. And we also worked diligently to preserve the artisanal well on site. So there's excellent water. Otherwise, I think we're, really excited about the project, feel like it's a good fit for Rockport and needed, and hoping that we get an approval. But I'll let Will take over.
All right, I'll go through some of the site details a little bit. And as Caleb said, it's very minimal changes from what we showed you the first time. The buildings are basically in the same location, same footprint. The project includes utilizing an existing parking lot that's already partially there, and a landscape island between the two properties that'll continue to be landscaped as it is, no tree removal there. It's serviced by public water and sewer, and we're bringing underground power in from a pole off of Cross Street. The water will be both domestic water and sprinkler. Both buildings will be sprinkled. We're providing 36 parking spaces for 24 units, which is 1.5 spaces per unit. We're anticipating, based on the Institute of Transportation Engineers trip generation manual, that for each unit, there's somewhere between 5 and 7 trips expected per day, and a trip is both in and out. So that would be somewhere between 120 and 168 trips. And peak hour is anticipated to be between 0.5 and 0.7 trips per unit in the peak hour. And in this case, residential is the peak hour is typically PM peak, so it's sometime in the afternoon, and that's anticipated to be between 12 and 17 trips in the peak hour. And just for reference, DOT doesn't require a traffic study until you reach 100 trips in the peak hour, so it's pretty minimal. Otherwise, we've added considerable drainage. We've got a lot of grading shown on the site, drainage around the backside, foundation drains. Everything to the southeast is an existing field that's going to remain, and there's some wetlands down in there. That's where the drainage goes now, and that's where it's going to be continuing to go. We're collecting a lot of that and discharging it to a stone apron. I am showing that little hatched area below the end of the parking lot. It's really steep right there, as you guys probably saw, and there is some plans in the landscape plan that we've submitted on how that's going to get vegetated, but that hatching represents some erosion control that'll be placed on that bank until it's able to establish once it's regraded. The thing that, big change in this submission compared to the pre-app is that there's just a lot more material here. We've tried to address everything in the site plan review ordinance, and we've included architectural plans, a lot more civil engineering plans, details, construction details, erosion control details, along with landscaping plans. So certainly happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think that gives a quick summary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any clarifying questions from the board? Okay. Any questions? We did get public comments in written form, and everybody in the board has had a chance to review those. Are there any comments from the public, questions? I'll open the floor at now, 6:11. If anyone would like to come up to the mic to speak about this project, they're welcome to. Saw someone rise here, so. Just come to the mic and identify yourself by name and Rockport residency.
Thanks. Yes, I'm Steve Bowen. I live on 117 Cross Street. You do have written comments for me, so I appreciate that. I just wanted to reinforce, I appreciate at least the mention of the traffic going in and out of these, in and out of this development. I just want to be sure that the board is also noting that there is another development across the street underway that's going to add 9 housing units there, combined with these ones on this side of the road, is going to more than double the number of housing units on Cross Street. So I don't know the process of the board well enough to know how you're going to take into consideration this enormous project, plus another project across the street, plus the already traffic issues that we have on the street with the schools and Farley's guy. Like, there's just traffic. I've been there 25 years. Traffic has done nothing but go up and up and up. And these projects are going to combined double the number of people on that street. And we heard about the number of trips that we're going to see. And I don't hear a traffic mitigation plan. At some point that has to be taken into consideration, because that road is even now barely safe to walk dogs and kids on. We're lucky to have a lot of young families on that street. And it is a traffic throughway to the schools in the morning. It's a speedway in the morning. And we got to have housing. There's no question about that. That's a problem that needs to be solved. I don't know why my street is now the solution for all of Rockport for housing, but I would implore the board to think about the traffic needs here, because we've got not one, but 2 separate projects in development at the same time, right across the street from each other on our street. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please.
Hi, Linda Clancy, Rockport resident and co-chair of the Rockport Pathways Committee, which is part of the Camden Rockport Pathways Committee. And you have my letter that I sent to you, but I would love to read it into the record. Is that okay with you? Okay.
Yep.
So this, I always write better than speak.
Knowing the
anyhow.
length of it, I'll allow it.
What's that?
Knowing the length of it, it's not, pages and pages.
No, 7 paragraphs.
Yep.
The Rockport Pathway, and this is from the Pathways Committee officially, everybody agreed. Rockport Pathways Committee priority for 2026, as outlined in its work plan, is to move forward the design and construction of a Route 90 pathway, initially to the Camden Hills Regional High School. In May 2024, the Rockport Transportation Infrastructure Study, courtesy of Sewell and Viewshed, said, quote, based upon the speed data and based on task force and public comments, a 10-foot wide multi-use trail to connect to the schools is recommended. This multi-use trail will be located on the northerly side, school side. It may need to be narrowed in the vicinity of Route 1, given lesser right-of-way there. As the trail moves away from Route 1, it will be separated from Route 90 by an esplanade. Currently, the Pathways Committee is aware that conversations among multiple parties are underway concerning the intersection of Route 90 and Cross Street, where 2 separate housing developments will be reviewed by the Rockport Planning Board. This is Rockport's chance to require cohesive and collaborative design for that intersection, as well as along Route 90 to the schools and back to Rockport Village, a design that includes a pathway and features the rural character and landscape of the town. We encourage the Planning Board to include the Pathways Committee in the conversation about this important evolution, which will require careful planning for public safety and health, recreation, and the cultivation of the town's long-term vision, as articulated in the 2025 Rockport Comprehensive Plan. Quote, the town of Rockport should seek to achieve an appropriate balance between encouraging reasonable growth to meet the housing and business/service needs of an increased population, and maintaining the beauty and characteristics of Rockport that make it a unique and desirable place to live and work. The comp plan also listed a town goal, quote, to promote public health, protect natural and cultural resources, and enhance livability by managing land use in ways that maximize the efficiency of the transportation system and minimize increases in vehicle miles traveled. The Pathways Committee looks forward to participating and collaborating in a municipal conversation that creates an efficient and aesthetically pleasing corner of town that can be a model for transportation infrastructure that equally benefits pedestrians and bicyclists as well as vehicular traffic. Thank you for the opportunity to help further our town's common goals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Devin Salisbury, 29 Cross Street. I'm here to voice my concern about the development at 3 Cross Street. I understand it's easy to label those of us on Cross Street that oppose this development as NIMBY. However, that is not the case. There was no issues amongst our neighborhood about the development of the homestead. We're a working class neighborhood and understand the need for more equitably priced housing within our community. I stand here not as NIMBY, but rather as how much and how quickly in my backyard. In my 16 years on Cross Street, my mailbox has been hit 7 times. 6 of those have been high schoolers or parents bringing kids to school, all due to driver error and distraction. I asked the town to allow Cross Street to absorb the current development of the homesteads units, and with that, the additional daily traffic flow that it will create before we quadruple the number of housing units on our street. Let's make sure our street stays safe to walk our dogs and families, as well as for our children to drive and be driven to school before we add daily vehicles for those units. There is a need for more affordable housing within our community, but I do not believe it has to be rushed into. Slow and steady development creates a more sustainable community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jonathan Goss. I'm speaking as president of the Midcoast Regional Housing Trust, and we are in a butter on the other side of that intersection. And we are very much in favor of the pathways. We're very much in favor of the housing at 3 Cross Street. But we are going to be clustered in basically an acre right on that corner. And my letter that I wrote is really what Linda Clancy was just talking about. We need to take a serious look at that. And just because that farmhouse was there when it was nothing but a wagon path, and all of the utilities center on that corner, hopefully we can do something with that intersection to spread that out and make that a very residential friendly intersection. And I'm really asking the planning board and the town to put a little leverage on CMP to make that work well at that corner. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. MJ Young with the Lesher Family Foundation. We're based in Rockport. Thank you to the board for all the work that you put into reviewing these projects. We at the Lesher Family Foundation, along with the Bresnahans, are excited to support this project. We see it as part of a broader effort to make sure that Rockport has housing for people at every income level, something that's continually pointed to in studies as critical for thriving communities. This will be the 3rd project that we've supported in Rockport. We also worked with TIA at Habitat on Compass Point, which serves households at 30 to 80% AMI. Madeline Lane also with Lake City Holdings for households up to 80. And Cross Street will serve the next tier at 100% AMI, which is often referred to as the missing middle because there's such a lack of public funding for those projects. So we're glad to support it. Thank you all.
Thank you. You have another comment?
Well, not me. Somebody just texted it to me.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rockport
I believe
resident?
with confirmation.
Can you name them?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe I can confirm that it's Aaron Englander from
Okay.
Maine Coast Heritage Trust. And he is requesting additional comment that he said he just sent to Orion. But here's the comment. He was hoping I could read it. In addition, if you can also add to record that I do have concerns about the artisanal spring on site. I appreciate that the site plan has moved the building off the spring's wellhead, but just want to be sure the hydrology and the high water table of the site are being fully considered in the design and engineering. There is an opportunity here to make the spring a unique feature of this development. The water is far more powerful than us human beings, and respecting it will only benefit the project. Thank you for sharing this important detail.
Thanks. Any other members of the public like a comment on the project?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Jack Swem. I live on Cross Street as well. My major concern is the exit coming onto Cross Street and not onto 90. We have enough traffic on Cross Street in the morning. It's very, very substantial with the school traffic. Sundays, it's, you know, with the church. You know, and obviously, we always have a problem, you know, the waiver request for 2 cars versus 1.5 cars that you're putting in order to get the low-cost housing doesn't seem to make sense to me. Somehow, you need a car in Rockport to get it pretty much anywhere. You understand that as well. Once again, it's like, you know, we have 19 houses on Cross Street. Status has shifted with working families, and we're all for, you know, when the north corner, you know, they're putting in the inexpensive housing, we're all for that. Nobody said anything about, you know, we were denied or, you know, against that. That was, and it's a good project, and we believe in, you know, having low-cost housing in the area. It just seems that we're kind of piling it all into one area, and if we just take our time and wait and see how this all comes together, I think it would behoove all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's everyone, at least in the room. So I'll close the public comment period at 6:23. Okay, so board deliberation. Are there any initial questions the board has had or would like to address before we dive into our process? Okay.
I was
Go ahead, Jen.
to a comment, and my comment runs along the line of Mr. Bowen's letter about the process when 2 projects are coming before the board as individual projects, and what, if any, responsibility does Rockport have, the planning board have, the ability to bring in other committees that are interested in the process. Is there precedent for this kind of situation before in our institutional memory as to how we can take those considerations into consideration and yet maintain our rules and bylaws about how the planning board is supposed to operate?
Right. So, I mean, I have this question as well, and I guess I don't have necessarily a position on it, but I think that right now we have 1 application before us. We don't have 2.
Mhm.
So as far as this board really should be concerned, I don't know, legally, we have to address this application. The other project has been reported, and Jonathan Goss was just talking about his project. It's been reported in the news, but like as far as the board's concerned and the development and planning office, we haven't seen that application. So it's hard to presuppose what that might be. In fact, it may be a little bit improper for us to influence our decision on this project based on something that hasn't even happened yet. So in terms of the
That I
site
understand.
plan review, I don't think we can really do much
Okay.
to think about what that might be. I don't know. I mean, I know it fits into the role of planning, and that's kind of your department of when you having talks with developers, you start to talk about like, well, what should go here?
Sure.
But
So
we don't do that. That's
No,
not our role.
So, so when an application comes before, it goes to the different department heads and they review it. So the Public Works Director reviewed this. There's nothing else to review right now. There's talks of a future development. Is it gonna happen? I don't know. I'd like to say it will, but right now officially we don't have anything, so, what is not a concern yet. So once it becomes a concern, then it gets elevated as a concern, and then we start to address it. So, to the future, it's kind of like, well, is it gonna happen? I don't know. Do we over-engineer? Do we overdo something? Probably not yet. So it's a balancing act, and it's hard to do.
Yep. Was there another part of that in terms of what we can do proactively in regard to, say, pathways?
Well, given the comprehensive plan that now the town has agreed to move forward on, which involves, as everybody in Maine is, in the future of housing and the problems that range with housing, we need as a town to have a process that deals with what, if we're lucky enough, housing congestion. We don't know what will happen, but maybe it's time that we started planning for down the road, whether it's a working group or a task force or long conversations over beer, just what will happen as project, because we're out there trying to get more projects. We're out there trying to get more developers to come and build housing. But we're not thinking very hard about what is the penalty of success. And
Right.
the earlier we start thinking about that and the more seriously we take it,
Right.
the better off everybody will be. So, no, this is not the appropriate time to close on anything because we don't have two competing projects going on. But there's a bell going off, and we've got to start paying attention to it. And I don't know, Orion, you can help. Where does that bell belong? Who needs to take on that kind of
Well,
responsibility?
internally, I mean, with the staff level.
Mhm. Uh-huh. Now, what about something like Linda's question about working with the Pathways Commission on things? Is that
Not
at
on
all
our
in our wheelhouse?
Not on this, but just in,
In
I think
general,
just asking
yeah.
in general.
In general, about what?
Like
you-
how,
you have
how
your
would
land
a
use
planning
ordinance.
board cooperate or, collaborate with the Pathways group?
Yeah, we don't have like precedence on
Right.
that. So right now, it's more of a public comment. They have made a public comment, serving as a committee with their vision, or I guess their goals, their I guess, finger on a pulse.
Yeah.
So they've elevated a concern, so what do you do with it? I don't know. You can review it like a public comment.
Right.
But it's about.
I mean, I feel like it feels like the right place to do it in a planning board, because planning board should be like, we're planning, but we don't actually produce any plans.
No.
No, we don't
We-
do any planning.
We're quasi judicial, we have legal responsibilities to review the thing that's in front of us
Right.
Correct.
and see if it's done by right. Like,
Yes.
that's kind of our role, we don't draw up anything that say we want to have happen.
Agreed.
No.
The only way we do is we shape it through ordinances.
Yeah.
So we can
No.
promote ordinance changes to see it.
Sure, so, if you see, an application coming before you, and you have pre-applications that come before you, and you start seeing a cluster of area, and you're starting to be concerned, you do have a select board liaison, you can voice your concern to, they can raise it to the select board, they can then go through their channels. So that's another item to your tool, if you see
Yeah.
something that is of concern.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Anything else prior to diving in? Go ahead, Tom.
I've heard comments from a number of projects saying they have close proximity to a major intersection, they have close proximity to Route 1, to Route 90. But one of the things that we have to consider is infrastructure support for these projects. We can't have a multifamily or apartment building out somewhere in a rural area that is going to require septic systems, and drilled water maybe. It's almost required that for reasonable cost, they have to be near public sewer and public water. We also, I heard a mention of CMP, you know? I mean, that sufficient electrical capacity. We also have things about the fire department, the water supply, and so forth. So all of those, I guess it makes it seem that things are all happening close to town or close to major arteries, but to a certain extent, that's because that's where the infrastructure exists to support these types of properties.
Yeah, and I think that's reflected in our comprehensive plan. That's where developers, or that's where development should be encouraged, or at least our board should look on those positively when they are near infrastructure, and it makes economic sense too. So.
I mean, you know, and I'm certainly sympathetic. I live off Warrenton Street. It's right around the corner from Samoset, and I live in like an 18-house subdivision. I have to tell you, when I'm driving around in there, I don't see anybody. But when I get out on Warrenton Street, there are plenty of people going from and to the Samoset or driving around to get to Shaw's. So there's traffic there, and I have noticed too that going out on Route 1, you sit there and wait. Oh my gosh, you have to wait for like 20 seconds, 30 seconds for a string of cars to go by. It's not like it was a couple of years ago when I could just go out and pull out.
Right.
You know, so that yes, there's more traffic, there's more congestion. The Route 90, Route 1 here, right down at the corner, that gets a lot of use. It does. And they, coming from Camden, you see sometimes they back up all the way to Hanover.
Yeah. I think I asked this question in the pre-app review about pathways, and I think that your comment was that, well, where you're developing isn't actually on the pathway, because the pathway is on West Street and your development's really on Cross Street. Part of the parcel goes to West Street, but as you said, it's all wetlands down there. But I guess well, maybe Orion, maybe you can update us just for the record. What is the status of that pathway study?
Yeah, I was hoping to have a contract in hand with the grant agency so I can begin putting it out to bid, but I don't yet, so I'm still waiting on that. So hopefully this month, maybe next month, hopefully it'll be out for requests for proposals to secure an engineer to do the work, but right now it's just engineering is the most we would get out of it right now.
And we don't have a drawing of where that pathway would be vis-a-vis this property line?
We don't have engineer drawings, but
Right.
we do have that conceptual drawing in the traffic infrastructure study. So if you were to go to our website, go to the traffic infrastructure study, you would see that trail with the Esplanade in this area.
And that would be built in that sort of green
It would be-
wetland zone that's on the plan
Actually,
there?
no. It would be, if you can find my.
It would be in the right of way.
It would be in the right of way, yeah.
Okay.
So in between the blue line and the existing Route 90.
So that's the only portion of this lot in question that the pathway would be
Correct.
perhaps, influenced by.
Correct.
Okay. Because the corner lot is remaining not part of the applicant's
Correct.
control. It's being subdivided. Okay.
Jeff?
Go ahead.
Orion, at what point of building congestion would DOT be re-looking at whether or not traffic light and traffic control?
I don't know.
Is there a trigger that something that triggers that?
Through the traffic infrastructure study process, it became clear that Maine DOT will address the problem when there's deaths. That's when they will start addressing it. And that's the intention. It's annoying. It's annoying. I'm not disagreeing with you there, but that was the annoying part of the traffic infrastructure study. So the town being preemptive with what we've done, and including Maine DOT in the process, and we've made progress with the traffic infrastructure study through being persistent and including them in our stuff. So we've been able to make progress through that initiative by including them in it. So they're well aware of the Cross Street area. Aaron Englander has been mentioned. He's been interested in getting across Route 90 for the Erickson Field. So they're very well aware of this intersection and the issues that go along with it. And I'm hoping through this engineering effort that we're gonna be able to include something with that intersection there through Maine DOT, through their help. Yes.
In my research, we're just jumping around, but we'll go through the stuff in sort of in our sequence. But I think it's hopefully addressing some of the questions that were brought up, and since we don't take them sort of as they come, we'll address them now. One of the things that came up in terms of a traffic study, and Will, you addressed that the 100 trips per peak hour is the sort of DOT threshold that would require a traffic study, and we're at, I think you said 12 to 17.
In the peak hour.
At the peak hour, so well below that 100. Our ordinance doesn't require a traffic study, or even doesn't allow us to request a traffic study unless it's on Route 1 or 90, the access points on Route 1 or 90. So we don't even have the authority to request a traffic study if it's on a side street. The subdivision review, I noticed, has a part where if you have more than 40 parking spaces, then a traffic study is required, but you have less than 40 parking spaces. So it feels to me like one of the questions that I think that Stephen asked was, the traffic study might be warranted here, and while we might share your concerns about the amount of traffic on Cross Street and the number of trips this may generate, and that it may become more busy, we really have no tools in which to require that traffic study, or do anything in regard to, asking for more information or traffic calming measures in our ordinance. So something could be there in the future, but we don't currently have that as far as my reading.
What does a traffic study cost?
Well, Will's office does them, so.
Actually, and we don't do
You
them,
sub it, okay.
but it can be wide ranging. It really depends on what the reason for it is, what you're looking at, what the, you kind of got to define. You really can't just say, I want a traffic study. You've got to give some definition to what it is you are looking at or concerned about. So, I mean, if it's the intersection, DOT definitely has guidelines. I mean, they have a lot of information about this location. They're not DOT's not fans of lights. Lights actually a lot of times cause more accidents, so they try to avoid them. It takes a lot to generate them to require a light. We just did one for the
traffic
new.
light, okay.
Yeah, traffic light.
Like street
yeah,
lights,
that's
bad.
Yeah, no, not street lights, I mean
Okay.
traffic light.
Traffic lights, yeah.
So it's wide ranging, Tom, but it's not, it really depends on what the goal is.
I don't know this for a fact, I'm not a traffic engineer, I'm not an engineer, but would adding more development increase the speed of traffic or decrease the speed of traffic? And I share the concern about traffic on side streets. It would seem to me that the traffic that might be created by this development would be primarily accessing West Street rather than going north towards Main Street.
You don't know that?
I don't know that. I don't know that at all, but that's I do have, thoughts about how that might be.
That's what a traffic study would answer.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
in
don't know
in
how
this
a
case,
traffic
Thoughts?
study would-
because there's nothing there, they would just take historical data.
Yeah.
And look at, and try to anticipate what that might be. If there, sometimes if there's existing traffic patterns, they would count, where people are turning and how many are coming from what direction. They could certainly do counts at the intersection now and determine how many people are turning onto Cross Street and see what that does and what this could anticipate to have for an impact on that. And that's the type of thing they could look at. They'd be just guessing though about how many people are gonna turn which way.
Right.
Yeah, and not during the study.
So if you need, we'll invite your comment, but please make it at the microphone
I'm sorry.
because otherwise the system can't
The
hear.
traffic pattern changes dramatically during the school year. I mean, all the buses, there's probably 6 buses that come down that road, and certainly the high school students drive their cars down that road. So it's not like there's no traffic on Cross Street from 8 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock in the morning. And the church traffic, like I said, is substantial. So any mitigation by putting the exit onto 90 itself would probably help.
So my comment to
Go
that
ahead,
is the DOT would not allow us to exit onto Route 90 if we have an option of accessing Cross Street.
Right.
That's just a done deal.
That, it just says prohibited. Like,
And I don't know if everybody realizes, but the church is relocating, so they won't be there.
right.
Yeah, we know that.
I mean, okay, so that beggars the question. One thing I noticed when we were out there was that showed that, you know, where your building pads are located are basically flattened lots for church overflow parking. It's kind of their standard parking. That looks like it must have hundreds of cars. And do you have any idea of how many cars are there on a Sunday for church? I'm just trying to get into my head, like, what this would look like by comparison.
127.
It's packed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was built because they didn't have enough parking for
I have complaints coming from the sound
And people
booth.
were parking on the street. That's why that back
Yeah.
lot was even built.
Stevie,
You have to speak into the mic, otherwise you can't hear you. Okay. Yeah, so it did seem like there was a concentration there, and I don't know if their lot was done, you know, just sort of, they just expanded it as they felt they needed to, or if that was a planned thing, felt like it was unplanned. But it seemed a bit, I don't know, a bit much. In terms of amount of parking, I was looking at our ordinance, as I didn't realize this as well, but it's actually not a waiver that you'd be requesting for parking. It would just be us believing you
Right.
how many parking spaces you need. So there's a whole table of how many parking spaces are required, but then after that, it says the code enforcement officer or planning board may consider the applicant's demonstration that you actually require fewer. So that's been raised as to why there are fewer, but can you just comment as to why you think that it doesn't need to meet the amount that's in the table?
Yeah, I can do a little, and these guys can chime in. So we'll start at the anecdotal level first, I think. So we have, you know, projects in the area. We have projects that are, I would say, like kind of this rural setting where most people assume you need a car to kind of get places. We have it at Madeline Lane. I think we're actually averaging, I want to say we are at 1 car per unit. We are 1, 2, and 3 bedroom family units, and we are maybe averaging 1 car per unit. We were required to do 2, and we have just a sea of empty spaces. At a state level, right, we have LD 1829, LD 2003 coming down, which basically for this type of project by right, we would have 1.5 spaces. And I believe Rockport itself in July, are you guys considering reducing the parking requirement to 1 or 1.5 spaces?
We may or may not, we don't know.
You may not, but
Yeah.
it is in consideration here.
Yeah,
And in your PUD section of your ordinance, is it 1.5 following the
I think that's the reduction.
following the standard set at the
Yeah.
state at this point?
Yeah.
So across the board, statewide, all indications say that that is the appropriate. I mean, I think we can look around and see seas of parking lots.
And you had the
everywhere.
option to apply as a PUD, and you chose not to.
Yes, because there's other components of that that didn't
Right.
fit with what we were doing.
Right.
But
That is something, the PUD section is something we're looking at revising to make it a little bit more appealing.
yeah,
Go ahead, Peter.
Jeff, I had 2 questions for clarification. One sort of a planning board question, and one just for my own and maybe the people that are here. I'm confused. You said we don't have a regulation for parking?
We do have a regulation for parking. Our parking chapter states a whole table as to how many required spaces.
And is it based on bedroom, based on square footage?
It
What
would
is
be
ba-
based on bedrooms for this, but then after that
No,
it
per-
says,
Per dwelling unit.
per dwelling unit.
oh, sorry, per dwelling unit.
Okay.
But then.
So
after
in
that-
theory, there's 24 dwelling units?
Yes.
Is that, okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so what would so there is a regulation for 24 dwelling units?
Right.
But you said it didn't have to be waived, so that can change.
It's not a waiver. It's, a waiver would be to say that we're waiving this section of the ordinance, and this is really an interpretation of the ordinance. So we're not waiving anything. We're just saying the applicant says they need fewer than what's required in the table. The planning board or CEO can trust their needs. Like that, it just says it in there.
Well, what's the point of a regulation?
I have no idea. That's why I was like, well, I guess we don't have to
That
get
makes
rid
no
of this
sense.
table. it's sort of, this table is moot if the applicant doesn't want to, and we believe them.
I mean, in my mind, when I worked, you had a regulation and they asked for a waiver.
Right.
You know, but, so that, I just want to clarify that we do have a regulation, and as you said, it's per
Well,
dwelling unit. Okay.
Excuse me, but that's, to say that the table is the regulation, when following the table, it says you can do something else.
Also part of the regulation.
That's the regulation too.
Yeah.
So the table is not the regulation. The table is a suggestion.
Right, which is why I'm saying this isn't a waiver at all, because we're not
That's what I just, yeah.
eliminating anything.
Right.
Jeff, if I can
Yeah,
just
go
add
ahead.
something to that. So when I commented about the Institute of Transportation Engineers and the trips, so for a single-family detached house, they typically expect 9 to 10 trips. But as soon as it becomes multi-dwelling apartments and the more units, those number of trips go down per unit, because the chance of them having all multiple cars and multiple people in the house goes down, right? You get a mix. And so that's why, and that manual is basing all of that on statistics.
Yeah, and that's the
so-
manual that our ordinance asks for you to use.
Right, and the apartments goes from 9 to 10 trips per day to 5 to 7. So it's the same logic that we're using for the parking. You know, we don't want to build, there's room, we could add more parking spaces, but it would just be paving space that we don't anticipate we're going to need and eliminating landscaping.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I sort of know where the board stands. My feeling would be to do some sort of compromise with what we did, you know, down the street, where they had potential if it was needed, but we told them they didn't have to pave it. But again, I think the board is sort of thinking another way, which is fine. I don't want to beat a dead horse. The other question I had, and I know it's not a planning board responsibility, but I just wanted for point of information, because people are asking. I work off of Old County Road in Rockland, and one of the cut-through streets, they have traffic mitigation. Again, I know it's not the planning board, but how does a neighborhood like West Street go to the town and ask for, you know, they have sort of, they don't call them speed bumps, but they kind of, when you're coming off of Old County Road and you're going down, it kind of slows the traffic down on a couple of those streets in the neighborhood. What do the people in Rockport do? I mean, again, I know it's not the planning board. I'm just asking for point of information.
What's the traffic calming
Well,
measure
it-
you're talking about?
What, they're not called speed bumps.
On Old
but
County and Rockland,
Off of Old County, yeah.
off Old County and Rockland,
Yeah.
on, it's not Rankin, but like the one, a couple before it, is that what you're talking about, that side street?
Yeah, a couple of those side streets.
Yeah, where there's like the, yeah.
I
it's
just,
like a
I don't know what
bigger-
they're called, but they're mitigation, you know, they are.
speed
And-
table?
and-
Oh, speed table.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
It's like a raised
do we have a highway surveyor? How do residents look into the possibility of something?
Well, I mean, Will, you can speak this better than me, but I know when residents can request a speed study. Unfortunately, it can go the other way, which is the state can come in and say, we did our speed study and
Now
we're
you-
increasing,
now you can go higher.
we're increasing the rates.
Yeah.
And I think that may have happened on Old County Road because the speed limit went up.
Did it?
Yeah, when residents were complaining about people driving too fast, and now it went from 35 to 40. So it can bite you. But I think that's one tool. I don't know if there are other tools, Will, that can calm traffic.
I know it's not your responsibility.
But I think
It was brought up.
Some free,
and it was
free
a
advice.
legitimate question.
But-
How, you know,
Peter, I just want, are you talking about Cross Street or West Street?
Cross Street.
Okay, thank you.
Cross Street. And I'm not talking about Old County Road, I'm talking about roads off of Old County Road, like roads off of West Street. So, you know, it was brought up that some person's mailbox, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe it's not valid, as you said. I mean, I saw on my street, it went down to 25, which was ridiculously slow. So if a resident wants to find out, I live in a neighborhood, I have a concern, I know it's not the planning board, I know it's not the engineer and the building's responsibility, but it was brought up, what do they do? That's my question.
So reach out to the town office. You can reach out to my department, you can reach out to police department, public works, you can reach out to the town manager. Reach out to the town office is the answer to your question. And then we'll look into it. So a lot of times that's gonna result in traffic.
Yeah, it's not the goal you want
speed
would
study,
happen, yeah.
but, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Again, I realize it's not us, but it was brought up.
Did you want to say something, Linda?
Can I just throw out one suggestion?
Can you just do it at the mic, please? Thank you.
Just clearly, and I realize that this is not in your purview, but clearly this is a bigger issue of the town, this whole intersection with developments, with what Maine Coast Heritage Trust is doing over at Erickson Fields, what is going to come down the pike, that you have two schools, and then you have an independent school around the corner. And this is exactly what was talked about in 2004 with growing the town, growing the village. But it's not happening. It's kind of backwards, the planning. And I'm just going to throw out this one idea. I realize that we don't have the liaison to the select board, but perhaps the select board, because I know we're going to lose Orion too, so we're kind of like falling into a vacuum. Why couldn't the select board establish an ad hoc committee to look at this specific area of how you're going to grow with Orion's help to move this issue forward, but to take into account all of these concerns that are being raised right now? Because, yeah, Cross Street it's just going to get worse, and Main Street will get worse, and so what are we going to do? And the bottom line is pedestrian safety, and it's the kids, and it's the old people. So what are we doing as a town? So I would suggest an ad hoc committee on top of every committee, but grabbing people from different committees and organizations and projects and fleshing it out. Because you guys can't, obviously I get it. You guys have your discipline that you've got to deal with.
Right. Thank you.
A quick comment, Linda, stay there. Putting on my task force for
Right.
comprehensive plan implementation hat, those things are part of the strategies, goals that the comprehensive plan has, that we are busy working on. How do we get those solved? And so this brings up an issue that that the task force has started facing, and that is not every plan, not every strategy or every goal can be laid on one committee. That things go across committees, and that things need to, some things in the comprehensive plan are duplicative, other things are at odds with each other, other things need to go across town in terms of who's responsible for them. I do believe that the comprehensive plan, which the voters made us adhere to now, does talk a lot about quality of life. It does talk about the safe streets responsibilities and safe streets planning that goes on now in the country. And so maybe the place for you, the next meeting for you to come to is the task force meeting, and to say, or to talk with me or with Bob Colmeyer, who runs it, about, are we paying attention to those kinds of things, and who are getting those things that may not at first glance seem as important, but actually are, because they're the layers upon which we're going to be building how we run the town in the next 20 or 30 years. So this is really good conversation to bring these issues up, because we have to figure it out, and I think a task force or a committee or something like that has to come out of that. So,
And that's great, Jan, and I think that you and Bob actually have a lot of insight, because you're going from committee to committee.
Yeah.
And maybe, you're the voice that threads it through to the select board to explain this conundrum at the same time of what's happening over at that corner. Is sort of, it's a model, this town could really do something nice over there that accommodates a lot of people and addresses a lot of concerns of the town that seem to be pervasive. But,
So just real quick, so Linda, since you're on the Pathways Committee, you've worked on the Complete Streets policy with me.
Right, that's
And we're
right.
trying to get passed, so that would take into account like all of these concerns that
That is
we've been
true.
looking
That is
at.
true.
So there's something in the future coming, we just have to get it there.
but it doesn't address the concerns of the people on Cross Street right now,
No.
that, as well as, you know, the other projects that are happening as well as across the street. So it's like, it's more immediate. We can't wait for the select board to hash out a complete streets policy. And really, it sounds like it's you and Bob. Sorry to lay it on you.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so we can continue to talk about these things, but I would like to get through the
Yep.
application through our process. So the first thing we have to do is to understand if we have a complete application as determined by the Planning Development Office.
Yes.
Ryan says he has, which basically means there's a written statement and a site plan. And then we have to provide a motion to accept that the Planning Office has determined the completeness. Yeah, so is there a motion on this board to accept the Planning Office's determination that the application is complete?
I'll move that, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Is that a second, Jan?
Yes.
Thank you, Jan. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? 400 on completeness, okay? Okay, so chapter 900, identify the zone of the property according to the zoning map. I find that this parcel is located in zone 907, according to our map. And then we should determine if this is an allowed use. Oops. So I find that this is dwelling, multifamily, and in the table 917, it shows this is a permitted use, not conditional, but permitted. And then we should look at its dimensional requirements per table 918. Looks like the frontage requirement is 100 feet. And it looks like you've got more than that on Route 1. It's like 300 something
You mean
feet.
Cross Street?
Yeah, on Route 1. Well, since you're subdividing this
90.
land.
90.
Route 90.
Sorry, 90.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Will, I'm with you. I get 1 and 90 mentioned all the time. So you have to have enough frontage on 90 and on Cross Street. And I think you've got both.
We've got both.
Yeah. So 100 feet on Route 90 and 60 feet on Cross Street, at least. The other setbacks are 15 feet on the side and rear, 8 feet to driveways, but there really isn't a driveway, it needs a setback. And the front yard is 35 feet, so does it meet those?
Yep.
Okay. We'll talk about this next requirement, which is building height. Building height, according to the table, is 34 feet with a note. And we discussed this in the pre-app meeting, that we would, the board that was here and present, which included a couple other members, would be amenable to your interpretation of the building height note, allowing this building to go as high as 42 feet, which is really the standard for it. 34 feet is sort of almost a false number. 42 feet is for, I'm quoting this, the building height is 42 feet for residential structures with roof slopes greater than 812 pitch, and commercial structures with roof slopes greater than 412 pitch. So this building, while all the roofs are not greater than 812 pitch, according to this definition, this is a residential structure with a roof slope greater than 812 pitch. So half of the roofs have 812 and the other have less. We felt it was a defensible position, that this does meet that definition, but the definition itself is pretty murky, or it's hard to understand, and needs some rework, which we'll hopefully do in our next workshop. So I'd like to get the understanding of the board, if they're still on board with that, that interpretation.
Yes.
Yes, and hearing nods, okay. Okay, and we haven't had the motion for this yet. Setback, height, use, and zone. Okay, so that is all for chapter 900 of its zoning and dimensional setbacks. Is there a motion to state that this project meets the requirements of chapter 900 of the land use ordinance?
I'll make a motion that this project meets, is it 917?
Yeah, it's zone 907.
907?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
So
your
moved.
motion?
Yes.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Okay. Jan. Okay. Any further discussion on 900, chapter 900? Okay, all those in favor of the motion? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Next chapter we're looking at is in the general performance standards, 1305. So this is actually repeating what's covered in 800 and 1000, which we'll go into later, but we still need a motion for this section. So what I'll do is we'll skip to 800 and then come back to this one if we feel like it meets 800. Is that clear? So 800 and 1000 chapters are kind of like the detail, and then chapter 1300 says it sort of more loosely. So if we go through it in detail, I would assume that it also meets the loose intent of chapter 13. So let's skip to 800. So we're going to go through this piece by piece. We don't have to go through all because a lot of them are non-applicable. Also, I think the application has this in their application with comments on sections. I'm just going to look at it. Oops, wrong file. Cross Street, here we go. Okay. 800. Okay. Soils and erosion control. I saw that you have a erosion control plan with details. Removal of earth materials is also part of 801, and I think you said that the earth materials will be removed, but or will they be just stockpiled?
No, there will be some removed. There's
Okay.
some unsuitable soils, especially underneath building 2. So we'll be taking out some of that and bringing back more suitable soils.
Okay. Okay. All right. Water quality, there will be no discharge of untreated wastewater. This is all being serviced by municipal
sewer.
wastewater. We have a letter of adequate service for wastewater, I think, as well. Surface and stormwater drainage. The surface drainage is pretty brief, will not negatively affect neighborhood properties, downstream water quality, and soil erosion. Is there an outlet that's easily visible on this plan that we're looking at?
Yeah, over just above the wetlands on the easterly part of the property.
Okay.
We've got a pipe outlet, and that pipe is going across the backside of the buildings.
Okay. That's that
and-
bold line that goes back there.
Yep, and we've got catch basins shown back there to pick up surface water. A lot of those pipes are actually what we call type C under drains, so they're perforated. They'll be picking up groundwater also. And then we have foundation drains around the perimeter, and the parking lot is already directed in that direction, so we're not adding any internal or underground piping in the parking lot.
Okay, so that's just sheet
Sheet flow
across the
right.
parking lot.
Which is the reason that we have that erosion control product shown on that slope, so that until that gets established with vegetation, it'll be able to take the flow that's going to go over it from the parking lot.
Okay. Next section is clear cutting. There'll be no clear cutting of trees. I don't think you're cutting any trees other than that, bush
There's
that
that
we
one bush that-
noted.
Tree.
Tree. There'll be, this is sort of general ordinance, nuisances are not allowed. Noise ordinance is in effect. Work between 6:30 and 6:30. Lighting, could you describe lighting measures that you're doing on site?
Yep, we've got some building mounted lights and we have, what are we adding? 1, 2, 3, I think, pole mounted lights around the perimeter of the parking lot and adjacent to the buildings. We've provided cut sheets on those and kind of a lighting layout.
And those are dark sky compliant?
Yes.
Yep. Any questions on lighting?
These are dark sky compliant?
you said
Yes.
Thank you.
I preempted your question, Jan.
It's okay.
Right, yeah.
Let's see. Okay,
We did, there is a photometric
I saw
plan.
it.
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Exposed areas, are there any, anything stored on site?
Nope, the only thing that we have is a dumpster that we've got fenced in.
Okay. And that's located near the entrance?
Correct.
Yep. Industrial standards, my interpretation is this does not apply. There's no industrial activity happening on site. Parking, loading, and driveway standards, so this is an existing, part of this parking lot's existing, the rest of it is sort of an expansion of paved area. But it's an existing driveway where it meets Cross Street, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. And that's already compliant in terms of how it meets the road, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. We talked about the table that's in section 803 and how it would require 2 parking spaces per dwelling unit. And then it's item, I think it's G, that says a reduction in the minimum number of parking spaces from the table above if the applicant can demonstrate that the structure or use requires less parking than specified in the parking space table. So again, this is the non-waiver. It's basically the applicant's awareness of this project type, you know, a quarter of a mile away, having similar needs and reducing the amount of available parking space needs. There is a provision also if there's overflow need, like if somebody has a birthday party and the parking spaces are taken, like is there an overflow designation? Is there anything else that they could park in if needed be, other than parking on the road? Hopefully not.
Yeah, I mean, to the, what is it, north of the entrance, between the entrance, between Cross Street and the dumpster, there's a pretty sizable area there that could be easily used for overflow parking. It's very flat in that area.
Now, you know your neighbor will, at the moment,
Right.
and there is no prescribed use of that parcel yet. And that has a parking lot, which I think, just interpretation, that guests might confuse as part of your development. Is there anything that you do to discourage people from using that in terms of signage or anything?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Also with traffic flow.
yeah.
Our people go this way, their people go that way.
Are people intended to flow in through that lot?
We're not restricting it,
Okay,
so that you can make the loop if you
so
need
if they
to.
do, they do, if they don't,
Right.
then,
But also by not it certainly makes it easier for emergency vehicle access
Right.
to have that flow.
right. As a subdivision, when you subdivide this parcel, will there be any easement?
Yes.
Written
Yep.
into
In fact,
it?
we're showing a lot of notes on here about
Okay.
easements and cross easements. The sewer, we have an easement for the sewer. There's going to be easements for traffic. I've shown kind of a purple line that shows easements that are going to be cross easements.
Yep.
So both parties will have easements to use the entrance and share access.
Yep, so that'll remain.
Yep.
Okay. Oops. So right now, it meets the emergency vehicle access. I think we have a letter, is that right, from Michael Young?
Yes.
Okay. Municipal no, is that right? cluster development, this is not applicable. This is not a cluster development. So skip 804. 805, lots. So this is pretty, is this applicable? The lot section? Yeah. There are no internal roads.
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't think there's anything in here that, no, in the lots. I mean, number 1 is non-residential.
Right,
Number 2 is about waiver for frontage requirement. That's not applicable.
right.
We don't need a private way,
And that's it.
and that's it.
Okay, so skip that for non-applicability. Livestock control, not applicable. There are no mobile homes on this lot, so skip 807. 808, access management. There is no access being provided from Route 90, which is what most of this is about. If not all of it.
All of it.
All of
Yeah,
it.
808 is all Route 1 and 90.
Wireless telecom facilities, this is not, you're not putting a wireless post up everywhere. Service drops. Okay, is your service coming in underground?
Yes.
Okay. Like that. Any comments so far from anyone? I'm sorry, I'm going perhaps fast. Okay. Perhaps too slow even. Home occupations, that doesn't really apply. Wind energy does not apply. You said no blasting will be taking place as a part of this work that you anticipate. Itinerant peddler does not apply. Okay, so that is large solar energy systems, not applicable. This is not a PUD, it's not an ADU. Although we have a section on affordable housing, this is not actually applying to what you're doing here, right? Let's see, and that is the end of chapter 800. Anyone like to discuss anything that we reviewed in 800? Peter? Peter?
I'm sorry.
Anything you'd like to discuss about 800?
No.
Okay, Dan?
No, nothing.
Okay, Tom? All right. Is there a motion to accept the application that meets the requirements?
Question.
Well,
You said this was not affordable housing, but I thought workforce housing was the definition of affordable housing.
Not in terms of how our land use ordinance is applying a standard, is applying its ordinance to affordable housing provisions. They're not seeking any of that, so you're not seeking any kind of grants or funds for affordable housing here. So, yes, no, it does not apply. Is there a motion to accept that the application meets the requirements
Also move.
of chapter 800?
Second that.
Thank you, Jan, with a second by Tom. Okay, any further discussion on chapter 800? Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Okay, 400. Okay, chapter 1000, to evaluate the application there. This is performance standards. The first part of this is the area landscape regulations. So you have a landscape plan. I don't know if you can turn to that on the screen so we can see the overall landscape plan. I think it's the last page or two of the document, that one. So what is being proposed in regard to compliance with our ordinance for landscape here? Like, I see landscape, but like, what is it you have to do here? There's some kind of parking shielding requirement or something.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of landscaping in that island that's already there, and perimeter landscaping, so, I think most of our focus has been more on, providing some vegetation and buffering at Cross Street, and beautification of the front of the building. Yeah, that's true. There was two trees being added to the island, so we're beefing up the plantings in the island.
Are the two new trees the bright green ones that we're seeing on
Yes.
the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the red and the green are also new?
Yes.
Okay.
I noticed that there was a stockade fence running along Cross Street.
On Cross Street?
Perpendicular,
Perpendicular to Cross Street, you mean?
Yes.
the neighbor's
Yeah,
fence.
yeah.
It's on the
Oh.
northerly property line,
Oh,
right up here.
oh, is that where that stockade fence was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So there's not really any work that's happening near the wetlands, that's just to document what's there?
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not changing that down there.
Yeah. There's some work that's happening in the back, but really that's not our concern. So you're adding some screening to that parking lot?
Adding screening to the parking lot and Cross Street.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't really notice when I went in, but how is the visibility right and left from the Cross Street entrance? In terms of
Oh, as you
vehicles?
exit onto
How
Cross
is
Street?
the
Like vehicular
visibility,
traffic, I
yes.
see.
Yeah, that's actually really good visibility. I mean, the distance to Route 90 is not very much, so you can see to
Well, I know
you
that.
can see to the intersection, and going in the other direction, you can see really pretty well too. It's a nice straight
Yeah, it's a straight,
shot.
there are no like
No,
major trees or
no,
undergrowth
and the trees
in
we
the way.
proposed are back a full car length in both cases, so that they're not gonna block that visibility.
And you maintain that corner, and then your neighbor will have to maintain the other side of the access road?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And a lot of that gravel parking area that's out there now, that is gonna get reclaimed as, vegetated.
Mhm. Okay.
You have a question in back.
Oh, yeah, can you please just come to the mic so we can hear you on the recording?
So the question of visibility is an important question, because when you come in off 90 onto Cross Street, the people pulling out of that parking lot are right there. Will said, like, it's right there. And the reason that the church changed the way they were doing parking is because they were having people coming out as people were coming in, and it was backing traffic up to 90. So when the church got so big that they couldn't manage all that traffic, they asked their parishioners to exit Cross Street going this way and come in the other way. So they had to create their own customized traffic pattern because they had so many people coming and going, because people pulling out and turning on Cross Street to get on 90 were running into people coming off 90, turning onto Cross Street, because that distance is no distance at all. I mean, it's not. So there is a visibility and sort of traffic congestion issue right in that corner there. It's something
And
to consider.
sending a lot of people out to Main Street is not a good idea.
Well,
That's why they're all gonna
That's-
come down Cross Street.
Yeah.
And anybody, I've lived there for many years, when they go to Hannaford, they're not gonna turn and go out onto Main Street and go down and go through the light and they're gonna come down Cross Street and go that way. That's how the traffic is gonna go up and down that road, because no one's gonna turn out on 90 and sit at lights on both ends if they can come and meander through Cross Street and cut out across from the town office and go that way. That's what they'll do. So I realize it's beyond your authority to fix that, but we're gonna have a traffic nightmare at that corner.
I mean, I think, yes, it is beyond our authority, but I think this is the time, even though we can't do much about it, that we hear about it.
Yeah.
Because then the select board hears about it, Ryan hears about it, Mike Young hears about it, so it's like, this is a good forum for it. Yeah. Plant sizes and species, I assume, I'm not going to quantify, but I assume that what you're doing here meets the ordinance.
Yeah, and we've got details on
Yeah.
a list of plant materials and sizes and how to plant them.
Right, yeah, I saw that in the notes. Any other concerns for a landscape plan? Nope, hearing none. Moving on to architectural review standards. So one main part of this is that the proposed development shall be located and configured in a visually harmonious manner with the terrain and vegetation and surrounding parcels. And it's kind of getting at like that these buildings would agree with their neighbors. And you said you made some adjustments to what you had proposed last time. Could you just describe perhaps what those were? I noticed your front looks similar to the building that it faces.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I can just run through that really quickly. Were there renderings?
Yeah,
there?
just go
okay,
up
I was
right
gonna say.
Yep.
What do you want? You want these up?
No, there's a
Oh, yeah, there
a
was one.
rendering
Above
in
it.
the.
There you go.
Yeah,
Right
there you
there.
Yeah, yeah. So
There we go.
what we've just kind of adjusted to architecturally is we've done kind of the exposed timber look, which mirrors the church that it's facing, opposed to what we had, I think, before, which is kind of a flat, simpler design. We feel like this speaks, again, to kind of the cohesiveness of this little corner. And then we've moved our kind of siding package away from like vinyl or anything to something higher quality where we're going to see that clapboard and board and batten finish. We also are proposing a darker color scheme. We have a couple palettes to choose from, but our goal is to keep this dark to just kind of blend in with the tree line behind us.
So did you say what the material was?
It's an LP product.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's like a standard color LP product?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. They have actually a pretty impressive range of products.
Yeah.
Colors at this point. So
Yep.
yeah. Yeah. And all the colors shown here are pulled as samples from the LP product. So
Oh, that's what those are.
like
down
that is
below.
actually
So those are like 3 choices that you're considering?
Yeah, I think this is. Well,
Two.
down there's a couple palettes that you can see.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Oh, I
but
didn't see that,
probably it's. Yeah. Maybe not that middle one, but I like the blue we have up there. But regardless, the goal is to keep the color scheme dark and blend with the forest behind.
Okay. So this isn't trying to stand out, this is trying to recede.
Yes.
Correct.
What is the material? LP? I don't know.
Oh,
That's
it's
a Louisiana.
Louisiana
Pacific.
Pacific. It's a.
It's a brand.
Yeah, it's a brand.
Of what is it?
It's
Not
lap
wood.
siding, like clapboards.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
But
not wood.
it's not wood.
Not wood.
No.
Yeah, but it's not like a plastic vinyl.
No, it's not plastic.
Life expectancy is what?
Longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, a long time.
Okay.
It's heavier than wood.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just reading through this. Okay, so does not exhibit a franchise style with more than one building. There should be an overall design concept. These buildings are identical.
Identical.
No drive-throughs. There's no renovation involved. Roofs shall not be long and monotonous. I wouldn't say that these are. No one disagrees. Let's see. Flat and mansard roofs. These are neither flat nor mansard. These are hip roofs. Preferred materials for visible roofing include composite shingles, standing seam, and non-glare metal or natural. I assume this is an asphalt roof.
Composite, yeah.
So composite. No roof advertising, and no roof-mounted equipment. So, building materials, traditional building materials common to New England. So the LP Smart side is sort of like trying to look like wood clapboards.
Yeah, board and batten. for
Yeah,
the
but
accent.
less maintenance.
Yeah.
Let's see, no T111 plywood. This would be the LP board and batten as well?
Yeah.
Okay. No bright garish colors. Awnings and canopies fixed. Should be located directly over windows or doors. No reflective materials in the canopies, so no glass canopies. So, okay, parking lot design. Okay, should follow the ordinance for minimums or whatever. No auto sales here, no boat sales and storage. I assume you know boat storage here, right?
No.
It's just the parking spaces for people's cars.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 1,000. Any other items in 1,000 chapter that anyone would like to discuss? Okay, hearing none, would anyone like to put forth a motion to accept the application meets the requirements of the detailed standards of performance, chapter 1,000?
So moved.
I heard that simultaneously. I'm just gonna go left to right. Tom, motion, Jan, second. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? 400. Thank you. Now tracing back to section 1305, site plan review. This is basically an overall that it meets those sort of detailed requirements. That it meets the application requirements. So 1305 is performance standards. Preserve and enhance the landscape. So to define, soften, and screen the appearance of on-street parking areas, we discussed that and approved. Soils and erosion control, we discussed that and approved. Access, we reviewed in section 803 and 808. Parking, we reviewed. Surface water drainage, we also reviewed. Existing utilities, we have letters from Maine Water and the sewer system that there's adequate supply and volume. Special features of development. Storage, we determined there wasn't. Exterior lighting, we determined was compliant. Emergency vehicles, we said okay to that based on the letter. Municipal services will not have an adverse impact. Water, air quality, not really any impact. Water supply meets their needs, and that's it for 1305. Anyone like to discuss anything more about 1305? Is there a motion to accept the application meets the requirements for section 1305?
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Jan. Is there a second? Is there a second to that motion? Peter, thank you. Any further discussion?
Did we talk about interior sidewalk connectivity at all?
Sure.
Did we?
Did we know?
So I assume there's going to be just sidewalk from the parking to the buildings, or is there going to be anything else special?
No, right now, that's what we're showing.
Are there going to be any like common areas, like play areas or things like that?
On the landscape plan, we show that.
Yeah, the area up behind the building and also the area between Cross Street and Building 1.
Yeah, that shows it better.
Oh, okay.
And that shows sort of internal sidewalks from the back to the front.
Got it.
Yeah.
So if in the future, when there is a path along West Street,
And hopefully there is.
hopefully there is, the way that residents here would get to it would be to walk out their driveway down to Cross Street.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's, depending on what the final design is, there's multiple ways, and there's potential for coordination between, the front property that's there and this property. I think there's multiple ways to potentially create a way to get to it. I think once that design starts to develop, it'll be easier to figure out how best to connect to it.
Yep. Is there even a potential to go the other way? So if people found them, that they like want to walk to the village to go through the wetlands area?
Not easily.
Yeah,
I mean,
not
it would
easily.
require permitting, and if there's another way to do it, it would be easier to
Yeah.
not go down through there. There's quite an elevation difference
Yeah, it
from
dips
Route
down and
90 down in that southeast corner, down to that field where it's wet. I think there's probably easily a 10-foot elevation change down there.
Yeah.
So the further you get to that southeast corner, the harder it is to get back up to Route 90.
Is this gonna be attractive to 10-year-old boys?
That field
That-
down there?
That field down there, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
In the woods.
Yeah, I think in the
Well,
winter,
woods,
you see them sliding down that hill and into
Well,
the
I'm
field.
thinking, yeah, easier to get to school than going out the, it's like,
Yeah, they've
gotta be
got-
more fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot more ticks too.
Yes.
Question from Linda coming up.
Okay, so Will's going to remember this. This is going back to MRC, right? And when the planning board then said, you have to have a sidewalk going from MRC out to Route 90. And I'm just curious, if this is a subdivision, does the ordinance say now that there are sidewalks that have to be along the section of the road that's owned, or am I just dreaming this? And I'm just suggesting maybe someday a sidewalk or something down Cross Street that, if it's not a sidewalk, it's at least something that is for pedestrians. And so therefore, you'd have something on this piece of property that would be a sidewalk so that the 10-year-old boys know that they're not to ride in the road.
I mean, the only part of the ordinance that I can think of that has something is the planned unit development section that encourages the developer for additional density to put in a linkage to the
Right.
town's sidewalk system. But I don't know if there's
Well,
another.
the recent June amendments had a 1305 edition, number 14, sidewalk connectivity. So that'd be the next thing in there.
Yeah,
So,
yep,
yes,
yes.
but the question is, what is planned? So
Right.
we've got a conceptual plan, we don't have an engineered plan, how does that work?
Right.
So,
That, I guess that's just more of that cohesive planning, but you're gonna have people who are probably living there who wanna walk their dogs, and then people on Cross Street who are gonna wanna walk their dogs. How do you do it safely? And how do you get from point A to point B?
I mean, I can imagine that, this is a, 100% AMI income level that probably is going to have kids in these units. With the proximity to the elementary school, it's more than inviting for a parent to not get in the car and just walk there. There's actually, I mean, the school actually owns a sliver of land that comes back to Route 90 that isn't part of the driveway, which is another, 100 yards up the road that you could potentially encourage the school to say, can you make this an entrance path for people who live here?
Especially once the pathway.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a much shorter route than having to go all the way up to the driveway and then deal
Well,
with
that
the
driveway
traffic up
itself
there.
doesn't have
No,
a walkway.
no, it's way too
So if they
narrow.
Create a separate one, it would be
Yeah.
better, yeah.
Yep.
So
Especially in
you,
winter.
you guys could put a sidewalk and then along Cross Street too, on your section of property?
Well, it would have to be in the right of way. Or it would be on the abutter's property. But that could be,
Is that your property then, that would have a sidewalk? Yeah. Throwing it out there.
Great ideas. Okay, so we had a motion and a second for this section, where are we, 1305? No,
Yes.
yes.
1305, yes. We had a motion and a second. This was part of the further discussion. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? 400. Okay, thank you. Orion, did I miss anything in your list of chapters? Okay. Were there any conditions that we had, Orion?
Not in this process, no.
Okay. Okay, so is there a motion for the project I'm just going to abbreviate it, 3 Cross Street, to state that it meets the land use ordinance as presented? Any motion?
I'm looking for,
Heard it
all of a
from
sudden I
Tom.
realize I don't know a name for this place other than 3 Cross Street.
I abbreviated it as 3 Cross Street.
We have to have a name, don't we? Doesn't every
That's a
property
subdivision.
require a name?
No, this is
No.
a site plan review.
Okay,
Is there a second?
yes.
Okay, thank you, Jan. Any further discussion on the application? Hearing none, all those in favor? 400, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Moving on to your next item?
Stay.
Yeah.
Great.
The next item is... Okay, the next item is a subdivision final application for a parcel located at 6 Madeline Lane.
See y'all.
Parcel is identified as tax map 10, lot 75-001, owned by 6 Madeline Lane LCH LLC, being represented by Ed Libby and Caleb Lincoln. It says and Gartley and Dorsey, but it looks like they're
But they're out
packing
of here.
Okay.
Okay.
No, we got it. Hold on, we got it.
I had a question for Orion.
Go for it.
We have a new subdivision ordinance.
That we do.
But we're reviewing this under the old one or the new one?
Well,
We have a choice, right?
you have a choice.
Okay.
You have a choice. Since they kind of came before you already under an old one, the easiest thing to do would just be to review it under the old one.
Yeah.
But given that we didn't really change a whole lot with the subdivision, you can review it under the same one. And then if we come into any kind of a hiccups, they can request a waiver spot on for that section and we can move forward. So
It was only
whichever
the-
you choose.
The difference between minor and major subdivision,
That's
which we
right.
basically eliminated that distinction.
Correct.
But they were applying as a minor subdivision.
Correct.
So I would say we just forge ahead that way as a minor subdivision.
So we'll make a note that this is reviewed under that prior
Okay.
ordinance.
Do we have a plan
Yeah,
of their last one to sign for the site plan?
Yeah. That's
there?
right here.
Okay.
So we'll
So
get that signed.
members, before you leave, make sure you
For-
sign that plan.
For Cross Street.
Yeah, I was like,
Cross Street.
do you sign stuff?
Yeah.
We
I got
do.
that here. I just need to write their names so they can sign and then.
Before
get you a copy.
we're done, well.
Yeah, we don't want to have to make a trip to the town office to each sign it individually.
You have ours too,
Yeah.
right, Bill?
Yep.
Thanks.
So if we approve that one, we'll sign it, we will sign this one.
Yep.
Okay, so subdivision final application, we did the preliminary, or was it a preliminary review? Or pre?
It was a pre-application because it was a minor. They didn't need the.
Right, pre-application review. This gets easier in the future. We did a pre-application review. You presented to us the things we might be concerned with. I think our general sense was this is on the minor side of minor. There's no development associated with what you're proposing, is that right?
Right.
So it's really just drawing a line, imaginary line, to subdivide this parcel, which was 3, then 2, now into, well, was 1, now, then 2, and then it'll be 3.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So, we were, I think, interested in granting waivers for the last time. Could you, just a second, could you remind us of what those waivers that
Yes,
we're looking
so
for
they're
were?
on the plan.
Okay.
In big red letters.
Waivers granted.
Waiver
We
granted.
talked about the sewer. We talked about the water. We talked about the stormwater, again, because everything's built. We talked about erosion control and all that too, again, everything's built.
Right.
And, yeah, the stuff about the private way plan, cross-section and all that, because the road's already built.
Mhm.
So they're enumerated right there under waivers granted on the plan, as the ordinance requires.
Okay. I should also ask if there are any comments from the public that we have not received.
That's what I wanted to raise, Jeff.
Thanks, Peter. There was one comment
Yeah,
that was in
and
the
that's what I
folder.
want to address.
Okay, we will.
There was only one received.
Okay.
I'm pulling my email up just to see if another one came through, but.
I should also ask, is it pro forma, any conflicts that anyone would like to cite? Hearing none. Are there any comments from the public? Here? No. Closing the public comment period, also opening it at 7:38. Okay. Just getting the file open.
No other public comment for this one.
Okay, thank you. So let's talk about that public comment first. Did you want to?
So I don't know the history of the project, but, you know, the person writing the letter seemed concerned, and I just don't know how we address those concerns.
Okay. Did you see that comment?
We looked this morning, we didn't see any public
Okay,
comment
this is the
on
comment from Tim Killoran.
Lawrence.
Oh,
Okay.
Tim Killoran, who's the neighbor behind you, I guess,
Yes.
Yep,
has the access road that goes to his lot and the other adjoining lot.
sure, that we're familiar with.
His comment was basically in the spirit of, there's a comment there that says, edge of gravel extends over property line, possible encroachment. He's concerned that his road encroaches on your parcel.
Where are
and-
you now? Oh, right here, yeah.
He might encroach on us.
I don't know if you want to pull up his letter, so I'm not inaccurate in what I'm saying, but he's
No, no, it's
concerned
accurate.
that in the future, he will still be allowed to by right use his access road, even though we encroach.
So- Yeah, so, I mean, that note has been on, I believe, all of the approved iterations of this plan from the beginning.
Okay,
It's always been that way. So this is a carryover from prior plans.
Okay.
I mean, you can look at where it is, and it is extremely minor, if at all. So we're not concerned with it.
Okay, you're not concerned. I think, Orion, did you talk to him?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, his main concern is just that he will still have access. He doesn't have to go through some big, thing to move his driveway or anything of that nature, so.
No, I mean,
I guess we don't even have to see it. It's like, it scrapes the edge of
you
it,
can,
maybe?
it's
Like,
not
could
even.
you just drive around it?
No, it's, and it's
But, I mean, it's
possible. It's not even known.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not a.
But it's possible.
And his biggest concern was like, could a development come and make him move? And I told him it's not on his property, it's within the setback area, so a house or a structure couldn't go there anyway, so.
Well, we also have a 20-foot buffer from where that possible encroachment is along the entire right-of-way inside of our property that we can't disturb the trees and stuff. So I think he's all set, and I would also say, just based on my own experience, I think he's been there, and that driveway has been there long enough that he would have an easy argument for a prescriptive easement, that it's
Okay.
been there.
I mean,
he's
we
been using
can, we can put a condition on this that just basically gives him comfort that he's not at risk of anything. Is that what he's looking for? Something just in
I
writing?
don't know if I would recommend you putting a condition, because it's
Right,
not.
maybe it's not a condition, but
There's nothing in the
No.
ordinance that you would be conditioning.
Right.
He's just got a concern, wants it to be talked about. Doesn't seem like y'all have an issue with it. From your perspective, this driveway's fine. Y'all aren't gonna touch it.
Yeah.
So,
It's
How
not
long
our
has this
driveway, we
driveway
can't
been in
touch it.
existence?
and the
Can you
driveway's been
show
in existence
him,
for a long time.
they haven't even seen the letter. Does anybody have it printed out?
Yeah, it's
I think
on the
so.
town website, so, I'll have to
Okay.
double check it, but if anything, I can email it to you again.
Where's this
but-
letter? I didn't see it.
it's in the SharePoint.
Yeah, I'm not, you're probably right with prescriptive easement too. How long has that road been?
A while.
A long time.
No, that's the letter that went out, sorry. It's,
Is it in on the SharePoint?
It is in SharePoint public comment. Well, maybe she missed it.
That's the
I saw it somehow, I don't.
Well, it's in SharePoint, but.
Oh, public comment, 600 Commercial Street, yeah.
Interesting. I
Yeah,
think
it's
that
there.
got
It's there.
overlooked on uploading, but.
No,
I
it's there,
can-
it's there.
Where is it?
I didn't see it.
On the website?
Where did you find it?
I found it in SharePoint.
Yeah,
so
SharePoint it
I
is.
meant SharePoint.
I'll email you a copy.
Go
of
to
it.
Madeline
Oh, wait,
Lane,
no.
and a public comment,
Oh, duh, okay.
yeah. I mean, I could read it if you don't mind.
No, just
No.
go ahead, that's fine.
Okay, it says, "Dear members of the planning board, I'm writing to express my concern regarding the apparent encroachment of my existing driveways shown on the survey submitted in connection with the proposed Ledgewood Commons subdivision at 6 Madeline Lane. I've enclosed copies of the relevant deeds and easements for your review. My property at 600 Commercial was acquired in 2014, and the deed and legal description are attached along with the original easement for the creation of the road in 1969 for access to 580 and 600 Commercial Street. The driveway serving 600 and 580 Commercial Streets existed since the original development of the property, decades before the creation of the development of Madeline Lane. Since the driveway was built and maintained by my parents in the late 1960s, it has continuously provided access to the property in substantially in current location for many years prior to the development of Madeline Lane. I was therefore concerned to see the subdivision material suggesting that a portion of my driveway may encroach onto the adjoining property. I believe this apparent discrepancy should be carefully reviewed and resolved before any final action is taken on the subdivision application. At a minimum, I respectfully request that the planning board ensure that approval of the subdivision does not adversely affect my existing access rights or prejudice any rights that may have been established through longstanding use." There's more, but I think that's the gist of it. And he's saying he's not opposed to the subdivision itself, but I believe it's important that questions regarding property boundaries and access be fully addressed before final approval is granted.
Right.
I mean, I think, you've stated it here.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of these. The thing, if you look at the note, it's not even known that if it
Right.
even is an encroachment, but subdivision plans are approved all the time with existing encroachments. They're just acknowledged on the plan and you move forward.
Right,
So I'm not sure what he's concerned about.
right. Yeah.
I believe that he's got all the rights that he needs, and it's such a small, tiny thing. But approving the plan does not impact his rights. His have been established, as he says in his letter,
Yeah.
for a long, long time.
I mean, I'm guessing, I don't know this, but I'm wondering if basically the idea was there exists a dirt road here and they put in the property markers to say, let's follow the dirt road, but then there's just a straight line that cuts off a little bit of an arc.
Exactly.
That's-
And it might have, someone the surveyor who was in the field
Yeah.
was kind of looking at those two pins and said, that gravel might spill over here, we don't know, and they
Yeah.
just put it on the plan.
Yeah. Okay, so your position is you have no intent to do anything near that road, nor are you allowed to do anything within 20 feet of that road?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, there's also, if you continue to look down on the notes, if you look at the map, the dashed light blue line, if you go down to see that arrow, is a 6-foot wide gravel maintenance and repair easement for the benefit of Timothy Kaloran. 6 feet into our property.
Okay.
I mean, he's pretty well covered here.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't notice that note.
Probably not.
So,
Yeah, that should be sufficient, I
Yeah.
would say.
yeah, and then there is, as I mentioned earlier, a 20-foot buffer for us not to do anything from the edge of the property. So it seems like it's belts and suspenders as far as he's concerned. He's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
Pretty well
I think
set.
Orion's right. I don't think we need to do anything
No.
else.
Okay. So yes, and he's not asking for anything in particular other than that we have careful consideration, and I think we've done that. Okay. All right, so what do we need to do in regard to this application? Orion, can you zoom in again on those waivers?
Yep.
Pull this thing up too.
Can you read that or zoom in more?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay. Everyone that's here tonight was at the pre-application review, right?
Yeah, those were presented last time, right?
Yeah, it's a repeat. I mean, everything.
It's sort of philosophical way, but you presented them.
Your response was, well, we can't give you the waiver now. You
Yeah.
have to put it on the.
No, but you addressed, there's
Oh,
nothing new, right?
No, nothing new. These were all
Yeah.
discussed. I would say, perhaps, though, the only, it's a minor difference, is the final one about the road. So we discussed about the status of the road being a private way. And this private way ordinance, it talked about having a whole separate plan. But our engineers spoke with planning office and said, hey, we can just put it all in this plan, identify it as a private way. It's all built, will be.
Yep.
So that's what we did.
Okay.
And one of the things you folks addressed in depth, anything in that back parcel would have to come before us or something else.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I'm reviewing the minor subdivision that you've marked up.
For completeness?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So submissions, so it starts with 6.3. And this is the current ordinance, I think.
Yes.
Is it the current ordinance?
No, this is last.
2020.
2025.
5, yeah, okay.
Right, so not June 26.
Yeah. Location map complete, final plan, you brought with you, CAD file, complete. You have a name for the subdivision?
Ledgewood Commons.
Ledgewood
It's on the plan.
Commons, right? Okay, boundary survey, deeds. There are no deed restrictions on anything on this that carried over? Okay. You get to 6B, and that's when you're requesting a waiver. So mark that one. 6B.
Well, I think it's 6A and B.
6A and B?
6A and 6B.
Okay. Okay, and 7 A. Okay, state North Arrow graphic scale, names and addresses, pre-existing conditions of mines, number of acres, yes, locations of river streams and ponds, no, contour lines, yes, zoning district shown, sewers, water mains are shown, widths of streets and highways shown, locations of improvements, open space preserved is not doing it, dedicated to the public, not doing it, flood prone, not applicable, hydrogeologic assessment, nope. Vehicular traffic, this is nothing adding to it. 40 or more parking spaces, there are none. It carries the previous permit for access. Stormwater management plan.
Where are you?
I'm on 24.
Okay.
24, stormwater management plan is the next waiver requested. 25 is a waiver requested for sedimentation control requirement. This is not high-value wildlife habitat. What is the source of that information if this is wildlife?
Garland-Dorsky.
G&D, okay. Is that something we have on our map?
Say again.
High-value wildlife habitat?
We have, it's in our comp plan, we have a map on it, but it's the same thing that Garland-Dorsky would pull.
Okay,
It's from the state,
okay.
yeah.
Inland fisheries
What
and
about black
wildlife.
squirrels? Is that high-value wildlife?
Black squirrels?
Black squirrels?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Are they?
I don't know. I have one in my yard. Nobody else knows about them. Nobody else has ever seen them.
No, woodchucks.
It's not a woodchuck.
Could be a mink.
Oh. Okay, 25, 26, 27, okay, 27, subdivision is a direct watershed of Great Pond, it isn't. Roads shall be designed and constructed in conformity with the street design and construction standards contained in this ordinance. Approval of the road layout by the Rockport Road Commissioner or Public Works Director is required. Public Works Director, what does your comment say? Have not been successful in getting a response from them?
Yeah, and that was, of course, we had to do this 2 weeks ago, but I think
Yeah,
Ryan
I've chatted with him, he's been very busy, he's seen it, he's fine with it.
Okay.
And nothing's changing on this, and he's already signed off on the last one too, so.
Do we need a condition?
You can put a condition if y'all are comfortable with it, but I can have something in writing from him tomorrow to add to the file, but he has seen it, I've had a meeting with him, he is fine with it.
Okay.
And we did provide the email from Chief Peasley.
Yeah, I saw that. Located method of disposal from land clearing, that's not applicable, it's nothing being cleared. Shall be numbered in accordance with the Rockport E911. Existing building lot A1 has already been assigned as part of site plan approval. Vacant lot A2 will be assigned upon future development site plan approval. Could you interpret that for me? It'll be assigned upon future?
Yeah, so Garland-Dorsky contacted, I can't remember who, at the town, and that was their response, is the vacant land doesn't get an assignment.
Okay,
No, the assessing
know that.
department?
okay. Assessing does that?
Yes.
Okay. Digital copy of lot lines has been provided. Okay, so we need a waiver on, I think it should be there,
7.
on 7 items, 6.306A, 6.306B, 6.3D. Yeah, thanks. 7A, 7C, 24, 25, and then, what's that one?
Land use ordinance.
805.3.
B.
B. I need to refresh
And
myself as to what that is.
The waiver for the erosion and sedimentation is because everything's completed already, correct?
We're not gonna put a shovel in the ground.
Not doing anything.
Yeah.
Eight oh three, 8053B. Private ways. So you're just basically not providing the street plan or cross-section and a drainage plan.
Right,
Because there's
we're-
not, you're not
we have
doing
an
anything.
existing road with
Yeah,
drainage.
right. It's just there.
It's already been approved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we should do these, what, one by one for their waivers, waiver requests? Orion?
They were discussed at the last one, they are on the plan, you have reviewed it.
Yeah,
You can do it all in one lump sum.
okay. Does anyone have any waivers that they wish to discuss or don't feel comfortable approving?
The only question I have is, you said one of them would be conditional upon a letter from the DPA?
Public Works
Yeah.
Director?
But we could still make a motion to approve condition on that?
That was
is
for item
that-
28, that's not a waiver, that's just, it's not there yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
The waivers are those 7 items. So no one has any issues with any of these waivers?
No.
Okay, so is there a motion to provide a waiver for the 7 items that are listed on the subdivision application plan?
So moved.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Jan. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? 400. Okay. Is there a motion to require a condition to obtain a letter from the Director of Public Works in regard to item 28 of the minor subdivision requirements? Okay, Peter, thank you.
28 was what?
28 was
Yeah, roads.
roads.
Yeah.
Are you seconding it, Tom? Seconding the
I
letter?
will.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
No, I just think it's a good thing to have.
Were there any other items that anyone wanted to discuss on this application? Hearing
I
none?
think we flogged these guys enough.
Tonight.
Well, they asked for it.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve the subdivision, the minor subdivision application as presented?
So
With
moved.
condition. Okay, second? Peter, thank you. So Jan, Peter, any further discussion? Tom's gonna keep his hand up. All those in favor? 400.
Just real quick, just make one comment, just for the record, about the waivers already approved, because we have to do that thing, like you approve your waivers, and then you gotta do it in the final again.
Okay, revise the
So,
motion.
Revise the motion just to include the
Revise
waivers
the
already
motion,
granted.
sorry, I'll retract it. Revise the motion to approve the subdivision, the minor subdivision application as presented here with the waivers that we granted, that are listed on the subdivision application drawing,
Yes,
and with the condition
Yes.
of item 28 as voted upon.
yes.
So moved.
Thank you, and Peter, you're seconding it. Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? 400.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yep. And that's that. So, moving on to our other business, there are a couple items I'd like to put on there. One is that Ren asked a question if anyone wants a printed land use ordinance.
What was the question?
Renetta
Anybody want a printed land use ordinance?
asked a question if
okay.
anyone wanted a
Do
printed
y'all wanna
land
come
use
by the
ordinance.
office
Yes, I
tomorrow to
do.
pick it up? signed or?
Jan, would you like one, Peter?
I think, I mean, it hasn't changed drastically,
It
right?
hasn't
Yeah,
changed
yeah,
drastically.
tomorrow
You
for
probably print out
sure.
a few pages.
If you wanna wait a
Is
little
the
while,
June
it'll
one
take a while to wrangle
effective
them
now?
up to sign it.
Yes.
It is, so
Yes.
we have it online, right?
It's online, yes.
Yeah.
We need that letter from Mike.
And I'll get that tomorrow.
Okay, they can, cancel my.
Do you have one?
Well, I'll just use the online version, I'll throw away the other one. So I just don't wanna be confused, or only use one version, so I'll download,
And we're gonna,
I'll download a copy.
we're
of
gonna
it.
discuss changing it again, so
Well, of course.
you can postpone it.
You got it.
Also, don't leave before you sign the subdivision.
No, we just talked about that.
Oh,
Y'all don't leave.
yeah, that's us, I mean,
You don't leave.
yes.
Okay, then,
Yeah, you guys can leave, yes, thank
You
you.
can go.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
So, I don't think anyone wants it printed, Orion.
Okay.
I might ask for just the, I think a couple pages have changed, right? Is that, would she know?
For which one? I would rather do the whole thing, just to ensure.
Really?
Do you have a printed copy?
I do, but it's from a couple of years ago, so, or a year or so ago.
Yeah, just because we've done some formatting changes just to make it easier on the eyes and flow.
It's useful to have.
Yeah.
I'll take one, actually.
Okay.
Also, if she's made a digital one, or she's still working on it?
She's almost, I think she finished tonight, and so the formatting will be done.
Before she prints, there was something I brought up to you where somewhere in the past, like few years, the I don't know what you call it, the sort of the numbered lists where you have like sub numbers. It's like 1 and then A and then like, Roman numeral I or whatever. Like it got screwed up.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there's actually a reference to like items 5, 6, and 7, but it's actually like E, F, and G now.
Yep.
So you don't know what you're looking for because it's
Yeah,
like
the
look at items
references.
5, but it's actually item E. So did she make that correction?
I think I made that correction, but
Okay.
I'll double check.
Yeah, check on that
Okay.
because that can be really confusing.
Yes.
Before she makes printed copies or
Yep.
electronic copies or something.
But I thought I saw a June 26 copy out there.
There, we sent, because we weren't sure what we were gonna do tonight, so you got a link to, the version that I finished, but I used a wrong version that she didn't format, so now she's having to reformat, so that's on me. So that's what you have, because if you wanted a review under the current ordinance, then you would at least have a copy. All the content's the same, it's just a different format.
Okay, so this one that's online, it says approved June 9th, 2026.
Yeah, that one is,
It needs to be reformatted?
that's on SharePoint. It is currently in the process of being reformatted,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and we're checking for the
Okay,
links.
so I won't download it yet.
Don't download that. You'll get another one that's more official.
All right.
When is it gonna be on the town website? That's the one that I'll download.
Goals tomorrow.
So that's
goals
the
tomorrow.
final?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll do a download from the website,
Yes.
rather than from the Fairfield.
Yeah, I'll notify you when it's done. Okay.
Okay, is she gonna put bookmarks in it?
Yeah,
for
There's
chapters?
bookmarks in it right now, but yeah,
Great.
hopefully that doesn't change.
Great.
But yeah, I like the bookmarks.
Yeah, I do too.
I like the linkages. Click
Yes.
it, takes you there. Boom.
Yep.
Done.
Okay, the other business that we had is that next month we'll be having a workshop prior to this regular meeting.
Yep.
So that's kind of critical in terms of our timeline for land use ordinance changes, any kind of changes. So we basically have to come to that workshop with the select board and have something in writing to discuss of anything we want to change in the land use ordinance, or especially in regard to housing. So there were a number of things that came up when these guys and other folks that were involved in that workshop, Tia and others, were recommending that we look at. So, like, really clear one was in there, 3 Cross Street was like building height. So it says, 42 feet for any building that has a roof slope greater than 812. But it's like, their interpretation was like, well, it has a roof that's like greater than 812, so it meets it. But I don't think that what was intended. But the language is so unclear. I mean, I'd have a recommendation, just like setting a townwide standard, at least for most of the zones, of just height. And it's this tall.
Yep.
Don't worry about the roof slopes. Like,
Yep.
flatter sloped, I don't care, because it's just confusing. So that's something I might recommend. I think there were other things discussed, parking and,
PUD.
PUD. Have you worked on that at all?
Yeah.
Okay, so, but it's basically a task to all, and I'll follow this up with an email, to all planning board members to come to that workshop with hard proposals to discuss with the select board especially. Because we want them to be on board with us, because they're gonna be the ones that ultimately propose it to the voters. And then hopefully, if they're on board with it in the workshop, we can approve the language in next month's meeting.
So this is not the next section of the housing workshop, this is a different workshop.
This is the housing workshop.
This is the housing, okay. Just wanna make
This
sure
is
we're
where
all
we,
coming to-
where we start to tackle the housing
Okay,
in our land use ordinance.
okay.
Because in order to get it in the November ballot,
Understood.
we have to approve language in July, so the select board can have their hearing and approve it in August or September, I guess.
So
October.
the
warrant.
bump up is, y'all do July, that way it gets on theirs in August, and if there's an issue, you've got now another whack to get it back before them for that final.
Right.
Because otherwise, every time in the past, it's like we had to scramble to get a meeting together, just so we could put something back there, so.
Right.
Do you want to invite the ZBA to that meeting so that they know intent? If they're, no, never mind. I'll come back my cake.
We're happy to host the ZBA to explain to them what happened.
Yeah. And the only reason for that, Jeff, is, and I'll talk to you about it later, but you get too many cooks in the kitchen, you get two quasi judicial people over here, and you get into the weeds of what it means. It could hamstring them. If they had their hands in why an ordinance is the way it is,
Yeah.
then they could render themselves useless in any issue that may come up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I had.
And Jeff, based on your prior efforts of research, there's no great way of finding what ground level is, right? Is that just a lost cause?
I've looked at it in many other towns throughout the country's ordinances. I've asked Claude as to what Claude thinks of this, and Claude's just like, yeah, there's many different ways of doing this. And it's like, technically, it's not cut and dry. There's no like, that's the perfect way.
There's
of
no
doing it.
perfect way.
Nope.
Okay.
There's no
I didn't know.
authority who sets.
That's
you know,
not something
a way
we
to
can
do it.
tackle.
So anybody can make their own.
I would say
authority.
where you have egress to the public way, that should be the
Yeah.
key. If it falls off and back and you've got a 600-foot building, so be it.
I prefer the simplest route when adding more, I don't know how to describe this, adding more precision to it just adds more confusion from most parties. So,
I agree,
yeah.
because you always run into exceptions. It doesn't fit.
And we can deal with exceptions. We can deal with the thing that's so odd that's like, all right, now we have to interpret this. What does the ordinance intend for it to be?
Well, that's what waivers are for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff, was it you that brought those diagrams, or Orion, about the turnarounds? There was a couple of, at the
Yeah.
last meeting.
Well, so we've finally found them, but it's still unclear. Like, I think we found them, but it's not like those tables were named a particular thing. So we found them in a thing that maybe they are it, maybe they're not. I don't know. They kind of look like they would be it, but we removed them. And then that little bit that is not substantial, it's just practically a note that says "see this," that was removed too.
So I didn't know if you wanted to address that or.
If you want to bring a diagram into it, we can look at it and consider that for November. But for now, for simplicity, that's been removed. And we can re-add it, and I mean, historically, 10, 15, almost 20 years have gone by without it, so it's not been used. So I'd say it's been.
Is that diagram based on some standard, like highway engineering standard?
I would like to think so, but it's not referenced.
Because it'd be much nicer if we just cited that standard.
Sure. Yeah.
Than provide the diagram.
I'd rather cite a standard. So we can research that.
Yeah.
What that standard would be. I don't know what fire department uses for. Anyway, yes, a standard to be cited would be good.
Talking point, you all noticed that the House and Senate of the United States both approved the housing
Yes.
legislation.
And the president said, no, thank you.
Yeah, he said, not until you do this other thing.
For you to do this other thing, which is impossible to pass.
Right.
I know we want to adjourn, but one other thing, based on what you're talking about at next meeting, you raised the issue of AI centers and data centers. Too soon to even broach that discussion?
I don't know if it's too soon, but I'm not really sure about what the best path forward. Other towns are just doing moratoriums.
Yeah.
So
That's at the select board level.
So right now, what would it be? Commercial, right?
Yeah.
So it's limited right now to 10,000 square feet in the 907. That's the largest it could go. I don't know. That could be enough. I don't know how big of a footprint they need. We don't have a use of data centers. So what does that categorize as currently? So if someone were to propose it, where could they do it? What do they need? I mean, I think they need a lot of fresh water.
They do.
So we don't really have
And a lot of
big
electricity.
freshwater stream they could pull from. We don't have a big lake. So I think it's kind of self-ruled out just from their needs. But if you're concerned with it, we could put it somewhere. Just it needs to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
2 feet. Yeah, I don't know.
But I did hear that there's somebody blue skying the idea of an underwater, ocean-based data center off
Yeah.
down east, cooling from
Yeah.
the natural water and so forth. But we don't have the capability of providing the amount of electricity that one
Right.
of those things uses. That's another self-defeating, another self-correcting
Right.
factor that
We don't have a flowing river.
We do not.
Yeah.
Motion adjourn?
Thank you. Is there a second?
I don't think you need a second, but I'll
We
second.
need a second. We don't
need
need
a
a
second?
second.
I
No discussion.
second.
Tom got you.
Tom's got it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Yeah.
400 at 8.
Well, there might be discussion.
No, there's no discussion. 8:13. We are adjourned at 8:13.